If we're feeling unworthy, if we're feeling negative vibrations in ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of, and what we can accomplish, who we can be, how we relate to other people, it's going to tear everything else down. Feelings of unworthiness can totally wreak havoc throughout your entire life if they're not kept in check. You don't learn how to conquer them. When I was 16, I had a big opportunity come in for me. And so I was able to go off and skip my entire senior year and head off to college a year early. And you would have thought that would have really boosted my self-confidence. And I also made a big, huge leap. And I said to myself, I think this is amazing. This is my chance. If I can just get away where nobody knows me, I can be who I really was. So I packed my bags and I moved 8 hours away from home to another state, and absolutely nobody there did know me. I completely started over my life. But you think it solved all my problems? No. Because as much as I was brave, as much as I was embracing a new way of life, there was still so much that was coming up naturally in my personality because of the thoughts that I believed about myself. And even though I tried to put myself out there, I hadn't learned how to overcome those feelings of unworthiness. And so a lot of stuff still rose up. And then, of course, you have new challenges that come up, new people that you meet that set you off, right? New situations and new pressures. So it's so important that we train our youth and we train ourselves on how to understand our thoughts, how to conquer negative thoughts and those emotions that come with that, so that we can set good intentions in our life and set ourselves up for amazing action that will yield the life that we want. Because when you feel unworthy, you are actually lacking the confidence and the self-value that is going to be able to deliver the life that you want. You're allowing something to hold you back by feeling and just accepting in your mind. It may not even be real. It could only be in your mind that you don't feel worthy to do something. You don't worthy to be something. Okay? So let's give you some examples. You're in a relationship. You get dumped. Your heart is broken. You were mistreated while you were in the relationship. You start to have self-doubt about yourself. You start to wonder if it was something that you did. You're blinded by those feelings of love. And now you feel another sense of unworthiness. You move on in life. You're married. And all of a sudden you can't have children. And now you feel a sense of unworthiness. I mean, isn't this the basic core of what your body's supposed to do? How are you supposed to go about this? How are you supposed to procreate if you cannot even have a child? Do you see what I mean? There's so many different things that come up. It happens in our job, in our relationships, in career choices, in life, in just any interaction that you have with somebody else. Somebody can say something that makes you feel unworthy, and bam, your whole spirit can be crushed like that. Have you had that happen? I mean, I've definitely had that happen to myself. But there's so many different things that start to happen and plague us. And if we don't learn how to address these thoughts and these mounting feelings inside of us, this feeling of being unworthy, we prevent ourselves from ever stepping in and ever becoming the full sense of who we are made to be. You are uniquely made at this time in history to accomplish something, to be something, to serve in some amazing way. Have you figured out your why? Do you know what it is? Or have you been trapped behind feelings of unworthiness that are holding you back somehow, some way? So this came up for me recently. I launched my business about a year ago. I left full-time employment to do so. I had 19 years of experience. I mean, all in the same field, right? That is enough, right? To say that you are an expert in this area to be able to serve. But going out there and having to put myself out there and be vulnerable, because sales, what if somebody says no? I'm like really afraid of that big giant no coming at me in my life. And that fear starts to grow, and then I start to doubt my abilities. So then I start to hide behind like, oh, well, maybe I need a special certification. Maybe I need to take this extra training class I just heard about. Maybe. Instead of actually moving forward and doing what I need to be doing. And ultimately, it came down to when I started to examine my thoughts and see that I was feeling unworthy. I didn't feel like I was worthy to go out there and launch this business, work on my own, be something to all the people that I could be serving. And instead I was getting just bombarded with this feelings that I was shutting down. I wasn't making any progress, and thus I wasn't making any money. And it would be like I'd have these ebbs and flows, these highs and lows, but it wasn't a consistency that I could really grow my business on. What was I doing wrong? Well, it came back to not my capabilities and my skills, but the fact that I was downing myself, the fact that I wasn't putting myself out there because I didn't believe that I was worthy of accomplishing it. And do you see what I mean? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That you are never going to step in to be your fullest sense and your fullest purpose if you believe that you're unworthy. So there I was, and I was not showing up the way I needed to. And I was not giving and breathing into this moment of life that I really should. And it came as a big stark like, what? When I had the opportunity to talk with somebody, got in touch with me for a consult call, and we're chatting, and I'm hearing this person's story, and I'm like, something's not setting right in my mind. I'm thinking, I don't think this person has any experience. So then I start asking some probing questions, and come to find out, I'm correct. This person is launching a business with zero experience in this field, no training, no insights into it. And I'm like, what? And here I am. I'm afraid to put myself out there with 19 years of experience when somebody with 0 years of experience is bold enough to go out there and essentially set a stake in the ground and say, I'm open for business. Like, come hire me, even though I have no clue what I am doing or how I'm going to serve. Do you see the difference? Like, I was blown away, and I needed to have that experience in my life because it shook me. And that's what it takes. It takes us shaking our thoughts and accepting a new thought. I was clinging to this thought that I wasn't ready, I was fearful, I was unworthy, like all these different things. And it was feeding those emotions that was shutting me down, and I was stuck in inaction in so many ways. I wasn't doing everything that I should have been doing. But then all of a sudden, that simple conversation that just rattled my mind and immediately just shifted my thought. And your thoughts can change that quickly sometimes. And all of a sudden I was like, I've got this. Why am I not out there? Why can this person with no experience be willing to be bold enough and put themselves out there, and I'm not? And that was a big shift for me. And it's like, it's so powerful what our thoughts can do, and we can just flip it just like that. I mean, have you ever been in a relationship where you're like, I'm in love, I love all these loving thoughts towards this person, and then you find out that person did something horrible or cheated on you, and bam, just like that, I hate that person. Love to hate, right? Because you can shift so quickly. Or you hear about somebody who fell from grace, somebody in the news or something happened, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, no way, that happened? Oh man. And then you just, like, your mind shifts. So if we can do that with our perception of people, we can do that with our perception of ourselves. And so we can take that. A lot of times it's going to take a little bit of mind work for you to get to where you want to be, but just know at any point you might have that big breakthrough in that revelation like I did, or it might take a little bit more work to get you where you need to be, but you can do it. You can shift your thoughts so that you can start to accept a more positive thought about yourself, even if it's micro steps that get you moving forward and get you out of this unstuck place where you feel unworthy. You are a person of worth. You have value. And if you haven't discovered that yet, then we need to talk about that. But that's on another episode. In this episode, I want you to acknowledge any area that you are feeling unworthy in. And so start by just getting a clean sheet of paper and pen. Okay, that's the best way to do this. And sit down and just be in a quiet space and just start thinking through your thoughts, and take those thoughts and just dump them onto the sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be a cohesive sentence or anything like that. I just want you, what pops into your head when you start to think about, do I feel unworthy about, and you start going through your list in my job, in the work project I'm working on, with my peers, with friends, with family, in relationships, in something I'm trying to do, in a project I'm taking on, in trying to lose weight, in trying to go back to college, like whatever it is, you just start to think through everything that you have going on in your life. Because there were some areas that I was really strong in, and then some where I was having these feelings coming up regularly, but I wasn't identifying them as such. And instead I was pinpointing other emotions, but really not getting to the heart and the core of feeling unworthy. And when you feel unworthy, it bashes your confidence. It tears you down, and it can wreak total havoc in your life. So spend some time reflecting now on these feelings that could be coming up about unworthiness, and see what they feel like, and just write them down.